congratulations on the nod. I think we all looked at this season and the end of the season and said, okay, where's Brunette going to end up? And we knew you were going to end up somewhere on a bench. What was, as a head coach, I should mention, what was for you particularly attractive about Nashville?
Well, I think there's a lot to be, obviously be attracted with their hockey team, but also I think most important was the relationship I had with Barry Trotz and David Poyle, kind of stemming back 30 years ago. David drafted me in Washington and kind of played through their system for 5 years, and then ended up in Nashville with them. And Barry had coached me through the American League and really gave me an opportunity to play. Coming out of junior, being a kind of a high scorer, no idea how to probably train or play defense or do all those little things. So I think him coming in and having some patience with me and turning me into a pro, obviously the amount of respect I have for him for that kind of mentorship, you can say, through those years with Paul Gardner. And so for them, if I didn't have them, I never would have played pro hockey or the NHL, as a matter of fact. So to have that relationship, we had some great years. We won the Calder Cup. We lost in the finals in Game 7 one year, and to grow up. And I think with Barry, a lot of the values that I learned from him or instilled was not just in my coaching career, but just as a person. And his value system, how he thinks and how he treats people, are something that I really respected and I carry with me from that point of my career on. And have an opportunity to go back to work with him, it was a no-brainer for me.
I'm curious as well with Andrew Brunette, head coach of the Nashville Predators. I'm curious, was there ever a part of you that wondered if Barry Trotz would ever get into management, or did you think, Barry Trotz, he's a coach lifer?
Well, I think, I would probably say I was a little surprised, but I guess when you look back at it and knowing all the different roles, all the hats he wore, I think even back to the American League in Portland, he was kind of a GM. He did a little bit everything, basically, in the American League at that time, you're booking hotels, you're booking food, you're going to get players, you're out scouting at different times in the East Coast League trying to get guys. So I think he wore those hats at that level. I would probably be a little surprised because I know how much he loves being connected to people and his players and how he treats them, and with all his different kind of value system and what he thinks is important. He connects with so many different people. So I was a little surprised. I thought I talked to him last summer a little bit. He needed to decompress to get back going again, but he kind of said, I want to coach. So it caught me a little off guard, but I guess when you look back at it, I'd say it's probably not too surprised.
You spent a lot of time in the Eastern Conference as a coach, now coaching in the Western Conference. You played in the Western Conference as well. I know you're sort of new on it, new at the job with Nashville, but even in the slight crossover as a coach that you've had, is there much of a difference in style between the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference, or are we at a place in hockey right now where it doesn't matter the conference, it doesn't matter the division, it doesn't matter the team? Hockey is hockey, no matter where you're playing, at which conference or which division.
I mean, great question. I think if you look back, I spent a lot of time in the Western Conference, probably 20 years, where the Western Conference at different times, I at least maybe I'm being biased here, but it was played at the higher level of the Eastern Conference. If you went through the Colorados, the Dallas, the St. Louis, Detroit was in the West in the 2000s. You had the Vancouvers, you had the Anaheims kind of coming in the later 2000s. And there was teams that, to me, it was a little bit ebbs and flow of the league. And I feel the last few years, I think the Eastern Conference has been a little bit deeper. It's been a little bit harder. Not to say that, the West is weak by any sense, but it's kind of funny how it goes. So it's a really good question. And does it really matter that much anymore? I think that's a great question. I'd have to put some thought into that. But I come in, and then maybe I'm biased because I was in the East, but the East felt the last few years just a little bit deeper. But I think they all go, like I said, in ebbs and flows. And the way teams now is probably different than any other time in at least my generation in the game, how they can turn around from from being a mediocre or a poor team to a playoff team, it doesn't take much. If you look at New Jersey last year, there's teams that the rebuild is as fast as ever with the influx of picks and young players and the impact the young players have in our game today compared to 10 years ago, even where they needed seasoning, they needed time in the American League, they weren't quite ready. Now these kids, and it speaks all the way up through minor hockey. I mean, they're preparing. I would watch my nephew, and they're playing on 1-2-2, and they're working out all year. So I think they step into this into the pro world, and they're ready. And we haven't seen that. So I think the rebuilds are faster than we've ever seen.
Yeah. I agree with that. Now you're at a place. I remember having this conversation with Patrick Waugh years ago when the Memorial Cup was at the Colisée in Quebec. And he was having there was a disagreement on the draft floor. Patrick wanted this would have been the 2015 draft, the Sunrise
14,
draft, and they ended up taking Connor or 2014. Yeah, they took Connor Blakely from Red Deer, and Patrick wanted a defenseman, and his logic was, look, these guys are closer to the NHL than ever before. Where once upon a time is you take the best player available because it's going to take 3 or 4 years until they get there. His point was, no. These guys are closer to the NHL than ever before. A lot of it is because they're that good. A lot of it as well is because of economic necessity. But when you look at kids now, Andrew, and whether it was your time in Florida, your time with the New Jersey Devils, and look, you guys welcome Luke Hughes into the lineup in the playoffs. Is it true that right now, like the breaking in part, I mean, that is so quick right now, going from, college or major junior right into the NHL? Like, certainly for some players, it'll take longer, but for the high end guys, like, they're right there, aren't they?
Yeah, it's really amazing. You think back in my generation, which goes back, certainly date back, way back, but we never really lifted away. I played baseball all summer and ball hockey, and never was on the ice from April to after Labor Day. And these kids, it's sort of, you hate to say it and it's sad to say, but it's almost it's a full-time job for them. They're on the ice all day. They have all these different coaches. And I think the eye-opener for me probably was right around that same time. I was in management in Minnesota, and I'd go to the Combine, which is actually happening right now. And you sit with these kids, and they're so well prepared. I mean, I would not have been able to answer any of those questions. And then you kind of dig in a little bit, and you find out they have a stick handling coach and a shooting coach and a track coach and a skating coach. And I mean, and you're just going, holy cow, the game it's going this way. It's turned into sort of a country club kind of game. You would never see at the grassroots level of kids going up. And I'm not sure that'd be for a whole other show. We can argue the back and forth what's better, but they're ready. I mean, they're ready with the questions. They were prepared, but with their agents. So for me, that was an eye opener at that point. Just kind of retiring probably 2 years before that and not really seeing that, but then being upstairs for those years after, just to really, they got psychiatrists. And so we had to get moving with the times as management, but also as coaches, that these players are ready.
Let me ask you a question about you then. Like, if you had to go back and do it all over again. So I was, I don't know if you remember a defenseman who played with the London Knights when you played at Owen Sound, a guy by the name of Daryl Rivers. So the reason I bring him up is I've got a kid that plays baseball with his kid, and they're at a tournament in Oshawa, and me and Daryl were shooting off about the old days, because I was a student at the University of Guelph at that time. That's when it was like Jeff O'Neill and Todd Bertuzzi and Jeff Bess and those guys. And Owens, you guys would come to Guelph and take 2 points and take everyone's per diem and go home, and you were shooting the lights out and 150 points. So you were awesome. And we were talking, me and Daryl were talking about you, and he said, you know what, he brought up a great point. He's like, he was never the fastest guy, but no one knew how to do more with body positioning and had great hands, and Brunette could protect the puck, and you took that right into the NHL, and you had a really nice career. If you could do it all over again, knowing what you know now about how kids train, what the future's going, and what would you have done? I mean, this is early 90s, but if you could do it all over again, what would you do?
I mean, that's another good question. I don't think I would do anything different. I think what allowed me to play in the game was maybe going slow and then figuring out how to play hockey. I think I was the kid that went to the local rink and learned how to play at the rink, and you're on the ice with 40, 50 kids, and you were, to keep the puck, you had, or the tennis ball, usually you had to use your body and use your hands, and if you wanted to have it, of course you wanted to have it and keep it. So you learn those different skills that way. But I learned so many different skills from other sports. I played some tennis, and there you learn some angles and some grit and resilience and a mental mindset and different things. I played basketball. I mean, never at any good level, but I just played pickup, and you learn how to use body position. You learn to give and go. You learn how to, create some space. Baseball, where it's kind of a team sport where everybody has to have something. And I think it really worked your eye-hand coordination and understanding, just do your job. Everybody does their job. You have a chance to be successful. And again, a mental, where you have to be mentally strong, because you could go for 4 and you're going to step up in the big moment. You better try to find some way to make something happen with the bases loaded. So you learn all kinds of different traits that probably you don't learn when you're working one-on-one with a skill guy, or you're just shooting pucks for no reason. I think I was able to, and if I did that, I'm not sure I would have ever played, because I think my personality and how I what kind of person I was, that would have bored me to death. I needed a little bit of everything, and a little everything taught me how to play at that level. And I know this is boring. We got to have a whole different conversation, because I put a lot of thought in that, but over the years. But I don't think I could have did it. I mean, I see these kids up at 5 a.m. and they're going to work out, and they're going on the ice, and they're individual, and they got 3-on-3, then they got a game at night, they got summer hockey, they got fall hockey, they got summer hockey. For me, I needed to develop my skill set playing different sports, and it kept my mind highly interested, and it really gained my competitive advantage. I was doing something competitive every day.
Let me get to Nashville here. Let me ask you about the Preds. There are some coaches that, when they're being interviewed for jobs, the first question they ask is, who's our goalie? When you first started talking to Barry Trotz and David Poile about the Nashville job, what were some of the questions you had?
Well, I think some of the questions I had was probably, what is going on there a little bit. I think from the outside looking in, you see so much talent. You see an inconsistent level, and trying to get a feel of where they're going in the future. Obviously, got a bunch of picks this year. What are their thoughts? How do they want to play? How do they envision they can play? Those kind of questions. I think you're kind of listening and learning a little bit. And I'm familiar with all those players, being in the front office and coaching against them. So I had familiarity of all those guys. But I think, especially, you got a goaltender, you got a Norris Trophy winning defenseman. So you kind of a feeling, but I think there's a lot more that goes into just what's going on personnel wise. How do they mesh? What's the culture there? How do we get better?
I'm always curious to how people answer this question. I'll end on this one. What do you want people to know about you as a head coach? We've seen you behind the bench with the Florida Panthers. We saw you with Lindy Ruff with the New Jersey Devils. We're about to see you on the bench with the Nashville Predators. What do you think people should know about you as they watch you behind the bench in Nashville?
That's a tough question. What I would. Geez, you got me stumped there. I would want to see, I think kind of what I'd want to leave the impression or leave somebody that watched any of our games is that I'm connected. I'm connected to our players. I'm connected to the game. I think I want to make sure my guys are having fun and they're enthusiastic of whatever I'm selling and the style of hockey that I like to play. I love to see a smile on their face. I love that they're, what I want my players is kind of happiness. I want them to enjoy the game. And I think if you enjoy the game, at least all my years playing, coaching, players play the best when they enjoy. I mean, I'm sure if you went to work and if people weren't enjoying, they're not going to give you their best product, or they're not going to give you the best job. Yeah. And I think when I've been around teams, if guys are enjoying it, they're having fun, they're going to perform better. They're going to want to be more of a team. They're going to give a lot more up of themselves if they're enjoying it. So an enjoyment is not teeing and giggling and laughing. I think enjoyment is that you're excited about the process of growing, of being better, of getting better together. And that process, it brings that kind of the enjoyment level. So I think for me, out of my players and out of the team that you're going to watch, and I guess that if you're talking about me, I'd like to see that of it, that we're going to enjoy what we're doing, and we're going to enjoy it together, and we're going to be connected doing it, I guess.
See, I think that's a great answer. Honestly, like I love asking that one, because I never know when I'm going to get back, and that's a great one.
Yeah.
Listen, Andrew, all the best. I wish you all the success. Listen, from day one, and I've been consistent about this. I've said this from day one of the Nashville Predators. This has been a first-class operation. This has been from top to bottom at every single level. This has been, a really accommodating organization from my perch. It's been a first-class organization. I think everyone in the league is going to see this year when the Predators host the draft, just how wonderful this organization is. And so you've landed in a great spot. And I wish you all the success next season with the Preds. Thanks so much for stopping by today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Jeff. Anytime.